This is Andrea Dresdell with ABC News Radio, speaking with singer-songwriter-artist David Cook, releasing his debut album. David, it struck me when I was listening to this album that if anybody wanted to know what you were going through in the last year and a half, it's all right there. Was that your intention?
My intention was really to kind of draw on not only the last year and a half, but really the last 25. And you know, it's funny, like, I went from, like, this total obscurity to the whole idol machine in the last year and a half. And so I feel like I had to tell more of the story for everybody. And so what's fun about this record for me is I got to kind of it was like an onion peel. I got to take off some layers of myself and put it into this record, and really give people, I think, more of a full sense of who I am and what I'm about.
Most artists giving the choice would not want to make an album under the time constraints that you did, but was there a silver lining? Did it lead to, like, maybe a more visceral or immediate experience? You didn't have time to second guess yourself?
Right. I was actually just going to say that one of the best things about it was that kind of like on the show, there really wasn't a whole lot of time to figure out whether or not it was the right decision before you make it. So we just kind of went into the studio and followed our gut. You know, Rob was great about keeping the ship on the right path, but for the most part, we just kind of ran around and did what we thought would be cool or fun, and the end result is this record. I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out. I think every song is a standalone song, and I think every song has its own identity, but I also feel like as a record it flows, which, you know, the fact that we pulled that off in 2.5 months, I'm very proud of.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because the songs sort of run the gamut. I mean, you know, Come Back to Me, very different from Barbasol, very different from Permanent. Mm-hmm. Did you want to make an eclectic album to show your range, or sort of to give everybody something?
There was a bit of defiance in it. I think, especially coming from Idol, it just seems like everybody wants to pigeonhole. And, you know, for me, I just wanted to show that, you know, that I can do different things. And musically, it's all stuff that I get behind. It's all stuff that I love to do. I love that there's so much, like, meandering on the record, and there's so many different vibes on the record, and you know, hopefully that means that there's something for everybody. But if not, I can guarantee you, at least we'll have a very kind of roller coaster ride live show.
Well, the songs seem like they were almost designed to be played live. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics, and there's a lot of places to open things up. I mean, was that something that you had in mind as well?
Absolutely. You know, that was my big thing in the studio was you know, can we pull these songs off live, and you know, because I want I think anymore, you know, the way to sell a record and the way to get yourself out there is to go out with this bombastic live show, and that's what I want. I want people to come to a show and feel like not only did they hear music, but they saw a show. You know, there's a visual aspect to it that I think some bands get lost in the muddle on, and so yeah, I think moving forward, I want to do everything that I can to kind of push this record up and hopefully bring it out of the muddle that is you know, every other record out right now.
You had, I think, what must have amounted to a masterclass in songwriting on this album, because you had so many different people, so many really top-notch songwriters, and there's not one way to write a song, but is there one particular lesson that you think you took away from all of that activity?
Yeah, that I am almost 26 years old and I know absolutely nothing about music. I think, you know, it was like going to school every day. You walk into these rooms with relative strangers, you know, guys that you know but you've never met, and you essentially have to bare your soul to this person, and you almost feel bad because you're like dumping all your problems on these people. You know, they've got their own, but I think more than anything, I've honestly learned just to be honest. You know, I think nothing beats experience when it comes to songwriting. So write what you know.
Was there a moment when you were writing where somebody would suggest something and you'd be like, you know, wow, you know, I never actually thought of doing it that way?
Absolutely. I think before Idol, I was very much a writer who liked to write ambiguously. I liked to write songs that meant something to me, but were written in a way that anybody could take whatever they wanted out of them. And you know, the downside to that sometimes is that the message gets lost. And so I was a lot more direct on this record than I've ever been, especially on a song like Permanent, where I don't think anybody that knows my story at all is going to have no problem deciphering what that song's about. That song's the cornerstone of the record for me, because it represents exactly what I wanted to do with the record, which was, you know, again, be lyrically open and musically not afraid to do something that people weren't expecting. And I don't think people were expecting a piano and strings ballad. So I'm To me, that's I'm proud of all the songs, but I have a very special place in my heart for Permanent.
It sometimes seems like your brother is one of your muses, if not your muse. And what does he think of the songs that you write that were inspired by him?
Well, it's funny. I don't talk to him about it too much. It's kind of one of those unspoken things between us, and because I'm sure there's like some unconscious fear that he's not going to like it on my part, but I do know he's proud of kind of what I've accomplished, and more importantly, I'm just kind of looking at I'm not only looking at this as a career, but hopefully a continued platform to get out in the public sector and continue to promote advocacy and more involvement in cancer research and funding. I just think it's something that I think even if my brother weren't sick, it's something that's extremely important to me, and everybody knows.